one. Our motherboard, B450 Tomahawk Max AM4 AMD motherboard, explained why with the PCI Express slots, the 4x DIMMs, the beefy, robust built VRM. It's the same generation as the CPU that we chose, which is an AMD Ryzen 5 2600X 6-core 12-thread CPU, so lots of multi-threading taking place with that. 16 gigabytes of G.Skill Ripjaws V-Series, 3200 megahertz, so we know that if you enable the DOCP setting, which will go into BIOS and make it run at that speed, otherwise it'll run at base DDR4 speed. We know our AMD CPU is going to love 3200 megahertz. We've got our MX500 500 gigabyte SATA SSD, and then our graphics card. This is always the hardest one, because again, it's the single most expensive piece, and there's a lot of competition taking place in the CPU space, or GPU space, even amongst a single brand. Like NVIDIA's got cards competing with itself, which is kind of crazy. So we chose the brand new EVGA RTX 2060 KO Ultra. The reason for that, the 2060 is about to come under serious attack with the 5600 XT AMD graphics card coming out very soon. It was debuted at CES. So what's kind of happened here is the price point here has sort of gotten more competitive, where now you can get a standard 2060 for under $300, $299, or you can get the faster factory overclocked 2060 KO Ultra for $319. So for me personally, I thought the $20 was worth the extra price, considering we're getting it faster than a 2060 graphics card for the cheaper than what a 2060 actually was just a month ago. And it didn't kill our budget. We stayed within budget. And I wasn't going to gain any serious SSD storage space by saving the $20. I wasn't going to gain any serious space when it came to our hard drive. I wasn't going to go with a higher tier CPU with that extra. So what I do is I go, okay, I can save $20 here. If I spend that somewhere else, what would I gain? Would I gain another performance tier or something? The answer is no. Then I stick with it, which is what we sort of did here. And depending on what the performance of the 5600 XT ends up looking like, this part might have changed. But I have to go based on what we have today and what's available, and that's what we chose. So guys, this has just been my kind of a walkthrough of how to pick your PC parts when building your next game. This is kind of fun though. We're going to save this parts list. We might end up building this system and benchmarking it. I know it's what a lot of other guys do. I know Paul does it. I think Kyle does it too. Where he'll kind of do a video picking parts like this, order all this stuff, build it, benchmark it, and go, hey, this is how it went. Because like I said at the start of this video, the problem is almost everyone teaches you how to build the system. But not many people ever tell you how and walk you through picking your parts. Phil has friends that are building PCs, and I have people that are emailing me by the millions. And it's like, the most common question we have is not how does this part fit together or where does this plug in? It's how do I choose? Which part should I get? What CPU? What graphics card? Because it's confusing. And like we said in one of our other videos about one of the reasons why you may or may not want to build your own PC, one of the reasons we chose that you may not want to is the overwhelming amount of parts out here and your overwhelming fear of having something be incompatible or just making bad decisions. So if you guys like this video, do me a favor, hit that thumbs up button and subscribe if you're new around here. And why don't you go ahead and comment down below how you would spend $1,000 if you were building a system here. Yes, I know $1,000 goes a lot farther in the US than it does in other countries, so obviously you'll have to adjust this based on your market value and inflation and whatever in your particular sector of the world. Sector 3, Gamma Quadrant. I don't know, whatever. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, we'll see you in the next one.
Hallo, mein Name ist Michael Crawford. Ja, genau der, über den Sie vielleicht in Forbes und anderen Finanzmagazinen gelesen haben. Man nennt mich auch der Wall Street Zauberer, der Trader-Millionär und der schönste reiche Kerl der Welt. Warum diese Namen? Weil ich Geld liebe. Und wie Sie sehen können, verdiene ich viel Geld. Ich bin wirklich gut darin. Das ist mein Privatjet. Ich bin gerade zurückgekehrt aus einem meiner vielen Urlaube pro Jahr.
What's up guys, Jay's 2 cents here, and it's been a hot minute since I've done my how to water cool a computer video. I mean, I think like 2013 was the last time I did it. Although the concept stayed...
Наоборот, он тебя понял, да, понимаю. Ну да, понимаю. Не подгудники экспресс-указатели, понимаешь? Ну, как бы какой-то смысле, да, понимаю. Нет, только, да, понимаю, да. Типа, да. Кушать. Придется все-таки эту штуку распечатать, видимо, да. Все это 100 листочков. Играть на пробу. Не сипи, это как сипи. Не сипи, а сипи. Ладно. Ты постараешься, да. Всем длинный. Двигаюсь.
Spiritualité pratique signifie spiritualité avec des résultats. On ne veut pas rester perché là-haut, on veut que notre spiritualité nous accompagne ici, dans notre humanité, dans notre quotidien, et surtout qu'on veut avoir du soutien, on veut avoir des clés, on veut avoir des ressources qu'on n'a pas forcément ici dans cette dimension, dans notre densité, dans cette matérialité. On veut vraiment accueillir de la conscience, de la connaissance, de la lumière, de l'amour, beaucoup plus d'amour, beaucoup plus de lumière. Et donc la spiritualité pratique doit vraiment vous aider.
Hey everyone, Tony Winston here, Jazz Piano College. I thought, I'd go into the Jamie Aebersold book here and take a look at the scale syllabus. Now, I recently did this big video about chords out of the real book, and went through that, got a lot of views, so I thought I'd go over this. And there's quite a lot of scales here, and I think maybe I'll just run down the list real quickly and try to show you some examples of how to use them. And hope I don't get them wrong because I haven't really studied this. And of course, these will all be in the key of C here. So the first chord just says C, so that's got to be a C major. Use the major scale. C7. You know, you just got to make that one alteration, which is flat to 7. Call that the Mixolydian mode because, you know, what scale has one flat? F. And if you build it off the 5th degree of the scale, that's Mixolydian. So if you're improvising, you start on any note you want to. All right, C dash, that means minor, most common choice. The Dorian mode, because it's B flat major scale. See, B flat major, build it off the 2nd. Use the 2 flats. And, you know, in C, you just think flat the 3rd, flat the 7th. All right, C half diminished, that's that little circle with the line through it. What do they got here? Locrian. So this is one of the modes I actually think about when I'm playing. Because it's easy to find, you know, you want C Locrian, just go a half step and then do that major scale, D flat major. Yeah. And I'm sure we'll get to it, but the other one is put the regular 9 in there, because the regular 9 is a more common extension of that chord than the flat 9. So. All right, and then the diminished, of course, you're going to use the diminished scale. And there's always confusion about, you know, do I start with a whole step or a half step? Okay? Remember, in a diminished chord, a whole step extension is possible from any note. So let me just take it up here. See, I can go, I can add that note to the chord or just move that note up. You know, I can add a D to the chord because it's a whole step above C. So pick any note, start with the whole step, and that's your diminished scale. Okay? You know, whole, half, whole, half. Now look, if it's B 7th, and you have the flat 9 in, of course it could be up there too, you know, it's the same diminished scale, but if you're thinking in terms of B, you start with a half step, so you get to the diminished chord part of it, and then go with the whole step. So on a B dominant 7th, especially if it has a flat 9, you know, because look, there's the diminished chord. All right, let me move on. Major scale choices, okay? C triangle means the major, and says you can use, I think that's the same as before, major pentatonic. All right, C triangle plus 4. Okay, now, you know, because it's hard to write, I don't know why they don't just put like sharp 11 or something like that, or sharp 4. Maybe their typewriter didn't have that little key on it or something, but they put plus 4, and that usually means a raised 4, so like that. And that's the Lydian scale, right? Because it's built off of what? You know, you're doing G major scale, and you're starting with the 4th degree. But it's, you know, I never think about the G major scale when I'm thinking Lydian. It's too far away from C. It makes me confused. So you just think about sharping the 4, or in this case, plus 4. Okay, another one, C triangle with the bebop scale. All right, you're just adding a passing tone there. All right. C major with a flat 6th. I don't know this one. So. All right, that's a pretty useless scale there. You know, when you get to these exotic kind of scales, you just kind of find stuff that sounds good by ear. You don't really think about it that much. C major, plus 5, plus 4. What the hell is this one? Lydian augment. A minor melodic ascending. Right, this is an important scale because lots of modes of this scale are usable too. I've never thought about this one in my life, and I don't ever plan to. Scratch that one off the list. I don't think it's all that useful. One, you never see that chord, and so why do you need the scale? Augmented chord. Let's see. Let's say. Oh yeah, I've heard about this one. It's like where you approaching each note of the augmented chord with a half step. So I think there's another name for this one, and I'll research it and put it in the video there. C, sixth mode of the harmonic scale. Right, see? Useless. You can find ways to use this. Rick Beato can find a way to use that one. I can't. I don't want to. Diminished. Beginning with a half step. On a major chord? Why would you do that? I mean, you can find melodies that might use those notes. You know, it's like little passing tones or something. I don't think I would ever think that way. Blues scale. All right, now they're just talking about a C chord, so. Yeah, I mean, usually it's going to be like a dominant chord or a minor chord. Minor seventh or dominant seventh. But I suppose if you just have C, you can use the blues scale. If it's a song that sounds like the blues scale would fit in, not all the time, you know, it's not going to work every place. All right, dominance. All right, it's got to be the most possibilities here because there's just so many. And it says scale name dominant seventh. Well, that's not the dominant seventh. That's the scale name is Mixolydian. I think that. Well, they called it that before. Let's just call it Mixolydian. All it means is flat the seventh. Major pentatonic, yes. That's nice. The bebop. Yeah. The thing about these bebop scales is really you can put the passing tone in just about anywhere. Take the Mixolydian scale, you know, add a passing tone here, or add it here, or someplace else. I don't know about that one, but yeah, it works in a lot of different places. So, you know, I just don't think I would practice those scales. I would just practice sticking in passing tones in different places and see how it works out. Spanish or Jewish scale, okay. All right, now see what this is actually. It's a minor scale. It's like F minor, harmonic minor, F harmonic minor scale, and we're just starting on C, but using the same notes. See, there was that part there. So, and where is this C7 chord likely to go? To F minor. So, you know, you could just be thinking in F minor and go like that, you know, and we've got using the same scale there for both chords, or, you know, you can use a different scale when you get to F if you want to. All right, I think that was pretty useful, but I don't know if I'd call it a Jewish scale. Maybe. All right, C7 with they call it the +4, but you know, we really think of this nowadays as a sharp 11, or in the old days, it was just, you know, the dominant chord with a flat 5, C7 flat 5, okay? So, the whole tone works, but I'm not sure what they're asking for here. Lydian dominant, okay, this is a great scale. And this is one of the modes of a minor melodic ascending. See, G minor, minor melodic ascending. This is a scale you should learn, minor melodic ascending. Here it is in C. classical, you do it different coming back down, but for our purposes, we do it the same way, right? Because there's lots of modes of the scale, and in this case, we're using like that, and we're on a G or C with a flat 5. Yeah, or work on C. If you have a C7 with a sharp 11, that's a good scale to use also. Or anytime you have like a C with like just a 9 or a 13, not flat 9, not flat 13, but those two unaltered intervals. So a C9 chord, right, or a C13 chord. That's a great scale. Let's put a circle around that one because we need to know that one. C7 with a flat 6. Alright, now nowadays we call that a flat 13. I've got a flat 9 in, so I don't know if that Hindu scale is going to work. Let's see. No, it won't work there. Alright, that is F minor melodic ascending. But I've never seen it as a C7. But once again, where is C7th going? It's going to F minor. So yeah, you could use it just thinking in F. 2, 5, 1. Okay, I never really thought of it that way before. Probably will never think of it that way again. But I think that's pretty valid. But they've got it with this chord. Like it. Let's see, that's just an augmented chord. And that an augmented chord is like an altered chord, really. So it's going to F minor more than likely. So it makes sense, I guess. All right, spent enough time on that one. Whole tone scale. Yeah, anytime you have like those notes in there. C7 flat 5. Right. And they call it like augmented, but flat 5 would work just as well too. And C7 with a flat 9. Yeah, the diminished starting with a half step, because your diminished chord is here. The C is there, that's the flat 9 right there. Yes, you can have a flat 9 right next to the root. And use the diminished scale. That makes sense. With the sharp 9, both notes are in the same scale, so again, diminished. But a more common choice is the altered scale. And I wonder if we're going to get to that scale. It's got to be in here someplace. Yeah, the very next one. C7 with either a sharp 9, why they call it plus 9, I don't know. Plus 9 usually means like to add a 9, but they mean sharp 9. Flat 9, sharp 11, which they call a plus 4, and flat 13, which they call a plus 5. Those are all the altered tensions from a C chord. Flat 9, sharp 9, sharp 11, flat 13, and the altered scale. Right? Which is D flat minor melodic ascending. And what do they call it? They call it the diminished whole tone scale. Because it starts with a diminished thing, right? Half, whole, half, and then goes whole steps the whole way up here. Right? Nowadays, we call that more often the altered scale, but it's the same thing. Diminished whole tone, altered scale, same thing. Blues scale, got it. All right, if we have a suspension, and it says may be written G minor over C. G minor 7th over C, or B flat over C, or B flat major 7th over C. I mean, there's just so many ways to write it. And my favorite is C11. That's it's a short little symbol and easy to figure out, but I'm in the minority there. Okay, and what do we got? Yeah, Mixolydian again works great. What do we got here? Oh, like the B flat pentatonic. Yeah, that's good. The bebop scale. Is that right? Oh, they've got it that way. That's the bebop scale. Okay, minor scale choices. C a dash or C dash 7. A dash means minor. So minor chord or minor seventh, most common, flat to 3 and flat to 7. You know, from the major scale. Flat to 3, flat to 7, do the same in the scale. See how easy jazz is? Anybody can do it. They call this a minor pentatonic. But if you know that, like, this is actually, you know, E flat major 6, that's the relative major. You know, both key signatures would have 3 flats in them, E flat major or C minor. So E flat major pentatonic, or they can call it C minor pentatonic. It's the same thing. Okay? And look at this one. If you put this note right in the middle, that's the blues scale. So very close to the blues scale. I'm surprised somebody hasn't called this the minor pentatonic bebop scale, because you add that one passing note. Let's just call it the minor pentatonic. I think that's a good idea. C minor 7th, bebop minor. What's that? Oh. Never heard of that one, don't like it. It's just another passing tone. Let's scratch that one off the list. All right, here we go. Minor melodic ascending. C minor, a C dash triangle. All right, so minor is the dash and triangle is major. So it's called a minor major 7th chord. And minor to begin with, and then major for the rest of the way. Right? And it can be used as an F7th, like F dominant 7th. Right? It can be used as a B altered. It can be used as A minor 7 flat 5. Right, but in this case we're using it. I told you there's lots of modes of this scale, so it's good. C minor or C minor 6th. Now minor 6 doesn't mean put a minor 6 interval, it means the major 6th. The same scale will work, but they've got this bebop minor. What the hell is that? Oh, just a little passing tone like in the major scales. I mean, you could put those passing tones anywhere. I don't see the point of really studying this one all that much. Yeah, it's pretty nice. Okay, blues scale. Somebody asked me